Okay, so last night I met a young man named Thomas, and I think a lot of people might know Thomas. Thomas built his first kitchen back in March, and he has a tremendous story that I hope everyone can get a hold of that story. I love talking to Thomas for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. So the reason I tell you that, it leads into this next question. You have a guy that's gonna start a cabinet company, cabinet manufacturer from the ground up. You guys have a lot of experience in this space. What 3 pieces of advice would you give to a young man or woman that's gonna start a cabinet company?
But I mentioned to you when I started, at least I found my customer. I wasn't trying to start a business and then go find a customer. So I really understood the niche that I was gonna build cabinets for. And I had an anchor customer. And I had 9 years experience knowing how to make cabinets that helped. And so if you have a market or a customer that you know that you can work for, give you repeat business and pay you, that's a pretty good one. That might be a real good one to start with. And then find some very committed, talented help to help you. Because you can only do so much. You know, an entrepreneur, like you just said, a young man, you have to wear so many hats in business. You gotta have some people to help you while you're out measuring or while you're out selling. And they gotta build cabinets or who's gonna install all those. And when you're just a few people, you actually get to do it all. And so you gotta take your cabinets out in the trailer, pick up and install them. You know? So if you got some very committed employees, that's probably the second one, very good. I would say finance might be another one, but probably more important is to know that you have to sell your cabinets for a little more than it cost you to build them.
It's a great piece of advice.
Sometimes you don't know that, you know, sometimes you get negotiated down early in your career and say, well, you know, the other guys, they don't seem to charge quite this much, could you discount it? You know, even when you're small, your builders can take it.
You've served in, I think, every role, and the cabinet companies that you've been a part of, all been members. Why? What is it about this association that is the big draw in your mind?
Well, the big draw, I mean, I've been members of numbers of associations, whether it was with furniture, veneer, lumber, you know, those kinds of associations. But the very first meeting I attended in 2001, I was at Evans Cabinet, but my old neighbor in High Point was Reed Marsh, who was president of Marsh Furniture at the time. So he seeks me out, and as soon as he says, you know, you're gonna get out of this thing what you put in. You need to get involved. So I'm on the standards committee. You're going with me tomorrow morning. We're going to the standards meeting, and then tomorrow afternoon you're going with me to the board meeting. You'll sit in there as ex officio member. So I learned real quick. You know, you get involved. You'll meet a lot of people, and you know, I've met more people through KCMA. Had friends that moved from place to place, industry to industry. And you know, whether it's someone like Edwin Messer, Stephen Welburn, these guys you call that you want to buy a piece of equipment, you want to see something, you got this problem, or hey, I run out of this, you help me out type thing. You don't see that in these other industries, but I think the real camaraderie came through the plant tours. And I love the plant tours, whether you went through a small company or a big one, you would learn or you could find something you could take back. So not a secretive industry. I always tell everybody, ask me about coming to this, well, a box is a box is a box. To me, you know, we do things a little bit different, but you can probably pick up how we do these things. But, you know, I served on the board probably 20 years, I don't know. And John and I were the two that actually hired Betsy. That was when I was president, he was vice president. And then the time on the trade case, I don't think, if we didn't have this tight association, it would have been very hard for the alliance to come together with the original 8 companies, I think, that we sort of started, and it ballooned out. But we all believed in you know, what we were doing, and willing to put some money into the game to get there. But I've just been to numerous trade associations. Nothing compares to KCMA as far as the value you'll get out of it. Particularly if you'll participate, you'll come, you know, you'll learn some stuff. So, you know, I remember a lot of the new guys, I used to try to, you know, get them involved. Jeremy's a good one there. He came first time, I think that's before he had like 6 of his 10 kids or whatever. He and his wife were meeting for dinner somewhere first night. So, well, we've got to sort of take them up through the ranks. And there were a number of people, so I always tried to seek out the brand new guys, get them introduced to people that, you know, that you could make relationships with. And, you know, the business part was second. So, you know, I had wonderful experience with KCMA, just with the knowledge you pick up, the speakers that show up. You're going to learn something, and it's not a real secretive group. So, but, you know, I can't say enough good things about being in the organization.
Yeah, Tony, we saw a great video from Bill to start this whole thing up today. To tell us, you know, why KCMA? Why were you involved for so long? All your companies involved. What is it about this thing that?
Well, when I first came into the industry, prior to getting into the cabinet industry, I was manufacturing airplanes, small airplanes.
There is about the business and how it works, whether it's the supply end, the sales end, because you're going to be selling your new company. You've got to sell yourself first so that you can get the initial orders and then, you know, the repeat business. So you're going to have to be very passionate about what you do. You're going to have to be willing to work 7 days a week, and it's going to try you. You're going to fail. So I always say, you know, fail quick, figure out what you did wrong, back up and fix it. But, you know, you're going to have those days. There'll be some trying days when you're getting going. So, you know, it is definitely something that is a worthwhile pursuit, but you can't do it, you know, if you're not 100% in. Because today starting something's much tougher than it was 50 years ago. So, you know, there is a lot of knowledge you can get from the group. Like Tony's mentioned, you know, you have suppliers that come in, well, they can help you with sanding, finishing, you know, machining, all kinds of stuff. So call on those people, they'll help you. And as you meet people here, you know, you'll figure out who to ask questions, and most people are fairly forthcoming about, you know, well, here's what I did to fix that problem. But you know, it is, it's not going to be easy. But I'm sure I haven't met Thomas. I'll hunt him out tonight. But it can be done. You just, it's the will to do it.
Okay, I think we got about 5 minutes left. I don't think we're going to get to past the microphone. For the last 4 or 5 years, we've heard about trade case this, trade case that. And that is the most important topic, you know, thing that we're doing right now, in my opinion. So let's, aside from trade, let's go back into the 70s and 80s. What was the key issue, or was there a key issue back in that time frame that, you know, was maybe a threat to your company, a threat to the industry? Was there something back then, like, you know, we're dealing with imports?
I recall is back when we had the formaldehyde scare, and it started in California, and it looked like there were going to be a lot of lawsuits. And
When was this, if you don't mind?
oh golly, I think it was
70s, 80s?
Yeah, probably in the 70s. And what was scary, not that we were doing a tremendous amount of business in California, but it looked like it was going to spread to all the other states. And they were going to get behind this, and there was going to be all these lawsuits out there and that kind of stuff. And then trying to find products that didn't have formaldehyde in it, or had a small amount, and be able to document, because the government was getting right behind this, and there was all of this threat that was out there. I don't know if you remember that.
I
To me, it was like yesterday.
If it was the seventies, I was 6 or 8. Okay, so we're out of time now. I wanna thank these three for taking time out of their schedules to come share their wisdom, their experience, with us. I mean, these are the guys that have helped blaze the trail and set the path for us, and it was a real honor for me to be up here on the stage with you guys, and I really appreciate it, and I'm pretty sure that everybody in the crowd does too, so thank you, gentlemen.